It was in 2020, and we became really good friends back then. I feel like he was a big prospect when he was coming out of the Dominican Republic, and since then I remember like following him and like we got to meet like in person and all that in the Escogido, and he was always really welcoming with me, and like we always talk a lot, and it was really nice to me. So it was really cool, to like have him on the other side and kind of going battling on the field.
Go to the fourth row straight ahead. Gabe?
Hey, Julio. The way you guys have won two, you lose two, you win one, you lose one. Have you ever experienced such an emotional swing playing baseball before?
Um, Obviously not. This is the first time that I play a game seven, but I just feel like that's how the series evolve. I feel like in the emotional side of things, I feel like I try to be like pretty even killed through this, and like every time that we play in the game, it's like 9 innings and kind of playing hard and can let everything else happen. And with baseball, you can't really like hold on too much to how you feel about a win or a loss. So it's definitely been really fun the swing of things in this series.
Go to the fourth row your left. Jordan?
Julio, we've seen you wearing a lot of anime shirts during the postseason. Can you talk about that interest and how that has inspired you throughout your career and how it maybe helps you even on the field?
Well, like I love anime. I don't know if that's a secret for anybody in this room, but now I love anime. And I've been watching it since I was a kid, and if you get to see so many of the characters that at least let's say Goku and Dragon Ball Z of like Luffy in One Piece or Naruto in the show, I feel like they are really motivational. They at least for me personally, like they have really like their mentality and the way that they approach certain things. I feel like really resonates with what I do and what I do in baseball because baseball can get really tough because everybody knows it's a really difficult sport, but at the same time, like you can't shy away from the challenge, and you always got to continue to push forward in those situations. And I feel like that's something that you get to see in anime a lot, in the storyline, the character development, them overcoming challenges, and I feel like that's why I really love anime. I know there's a lot of people say, oh, but it's a drawing and all that, but like once you sit and watch and you get to kind of resonate with what they're saying in the show, I feel like it's really cool.
Go up front on your left.
Julio, what makes this clubhouse so special, and what has being a part of this team meant to you this year?
I would say like the brotherhood that we have with each other. I feel like we really get along with each other. We really like to play for each other, and I feel like that's something that separates us. And a few of us have been playing together for a while, and like I feel like we definitely see each other as brothers, and I feel like that's what we're able to go and take a field and compete for each other.
Right up front, Julio.
Julio, with a game seven, do you need to fight the urge to try to do that little bit extra, a little bit more, or do you lean into the moment of what's in front of you tonight, and how do you kind of approach it?
I feel like that's the right way to do it. Like we've been here by being who we are, by playing our baseball, and I feel like that's something that you have to double down. There is no need to do more. I feel like everybody have been doing it the whole year. We've been playing baseball the whole year, preparing the whole year, and that it came down to one game. You're just doing one more of the same thing. I feel like that's a mentality we should take in this game seven.
Standing in the back left, Julio.
Julio, I'll do mine in Spanish. Imagino que creciendo, teniendo la posibilidad de jugar pelota, siempre imaginaste tener la oportunidad de jugar un juego 7, ¿no? Y creo que donde las papas queman, como dicen. ¿Cómo reflexionas sobre esta oportunidad y cómo está la mentalidad, el aspecto mental adentro del clubhouse, teniendo en cuenta de este desafío que tienen hoy?
Yo digo que sí, muchísimas veces de verdad de chamaquito. Yo siempre pensé como, juego 7, 3-2, base llena, fulano pichando y que venga yo y de un jonrón. De verdad que fueron muchísimas veces que yo hice eso con mis amigos, solo, jugando PlayStation. De verdad que lo hice mucho y de verdad que me siento muy emocionado por tener esta oportunidad básicamente como cumplir uno de mis sueños en un sentido de poder jugar un juego 7 cuando o tú ganas o te vas para tu casa.
The fourth row on your left, Tyler.
Julio, way back before you signed with the Mariners, what did you know about the franchise? What did the franchise symbolize or signify to you before you signed there?
Before I signed, the biggest name I knew was was definitely Ichiro Suzuki's name. Like he was really popular in the Dominican Republic for his way of playing. And right around the time that I signed, that my favorite player was really Nelson Cruz, and that's something that kind of like pulled me up to the team too, and just kind of like the way that I thought that we were going to develop players. That was like the biggest thing we knew because I feel like for us in the Dominican Republic, even though like we follow the MLB, I feel like our biggest baseball is Dominican Winter League.
Aaron, the last row on your left.
Julio, the last time you guys faced Bieber, your home run was the only thing that the Mariners got off of him. Can you take us back? What's it like facing him? What are kind of your cues and keys when you face Shane Bieber?
I mean, he's a really good pitcher. You know, like he's been in this league doing what he's been doing for a while, and like that he's a really good pitcher. That that you gotta go out there and compete against him and trying to get your pitch because he also got obviously like his plan and kind of you gotta bring it to your own zone.
Couple last ones for Julio. We'll go right there.
Julio, it's Dan talked to you about where he wants you in the lineup tonight, and do you have a preference?
No, I'm ready to compete, man. Like for me, I feel like the only thing I can control and really do is just like my intent, my preparation, and just be ready to compete.
Anything else for Julio? All right, Julio, thanks so much for coming in. Appreciate it.
Charging the feet. Have a good day. See you all later.
George Springer should be in a moment. right, we'll get started with George. Who has the first question? We'll start with Jordan. Fourth row on your left, George.
George, this will be your 5th Game 7, which is more than most players get to do. How do you draw on that experience, and what do you maybe some memorable times from your previous Game 7s?
Yeah, I mean, this is what you play for as a player. This is what you want. You know, I don't think there's anybody across the league that if you said in spring training, hey, you're going to be in Game 7 of the ALCS, that you're going to say, oh man, no. I think everyone's excited, so I'll look forward to it.
Other questions for George? We'll go to John up front, or actually we go Shy right there, and then John.
Hey, George. John told us yesterday you've been playing through a lot all season long, and obviously you're playing through the knee right now. What goes into the mental side of playing through physical ailments at this time of year?
I mean, you just have to understand and kind of accept that nobody on the field is playing 100%. It's not just you. And at the end of the day, I don't really think anybody cares. You know, if you're out there, you're expected to play and you're expected to perform to the best of, who you are that day. So, for me, it just kind of is what it is. I have a job to do, so I expect to go do it. It doesn't really matter how I feel.
You have a process for learning how to maybe manage physical limitations or learning to work within what your body can do and figuring out how to use that on the field?
I mean, you can always say you have one, and then you get out there and the game starts and your brain says go. And so I don't really put much stock into pretty much anything. I just say, hey, if I'm out there, I'm going to give you 100% of whatever I got that day, and strap up again tomorrow, and we'll see what happens.
John, right up front, George.
Hi, George. When you think about your athletic training staff here with the Jays, who do you want to maybe share just their contributions to helping you get back on the field, and what makes their behind-the-scenes group really effective in helping you and your teammates too?
Yeah, I mean, our strength staff, our AT staff has been unbelievable all year. They work so hard all year round, and when you think about them, there's never a time where you walk in there and they say, hold on, I need 5 minutes. It's always okay. And it takes a lot to get just one player through 162 plus games, let alone a full team. So, I know for me, they get this old body ready to roll every single day. So I owe a lot to guys like Jose Ministral, to John Bigger, Drew McDonald. I can name them all. Scotty Weberg. It's a collective effort to get everybody back on the field every day.
Fourth row, a bit further to your right, Mike.
George, it looked, especially in that last at bat, like you were really grinding last night. Did the knee get progressively worse as the game continued, and how were you feeling there in that last at bat?
I mean, it just kind of is what it is, honestly. I'm gonna do my best to just go out there and play to the best of my ability. I don't really think it's a secret. I got hit in the kneecap. It's not ideal, so it's not necessarily the best thing. But at this point, I'm gonna play. It's not ideal, but it will.
And I guess going back to Friday night in Seattle, John Schneider talked about it. Ernie Clement talked about it. A lot of people talked about the booing while you were on the ground and the cheering when you left the game. I know you're used to getting booed, especially in AL West cities, but what did you think of that situation?
I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm just concerned about my health, and that's out of my control. So just kind of one of those things where I was concerned about my knee in the moment, and I'll go from there.
Stay in the same row with Gabe, George.
Hey, George. It seems like this roster gets a little more veteran and a little saltier with every passing year. What do you think that guys like you and Max and Chris and Gosman and others bring to the clubhouse beyond talent and just the experience of the collective experience of what all you guys have gone through in your careers?
Well, I mean, old age is one of them. When you talk to Trey Savage, it's really funny. The dude, 22 or 23 years old, which is hilarious. And you see the way he performs and is so poised. It's impressive. But I just think for us, kind of as an older group, you've been through a lot. Max has been through a lot. So has Chris, and Gauzy, and a lot of guys. So, I just think being able to communicate with guys what you've been through, experience-wise, whether it's on the field, off the field, it can help somebody.
Fifth row on your left, George. Mitch.
George, you've obviously been in these games before. You've won at this level. A lot of you and some of the other guys have kind of talked about this group generally and how tight you are. How much at this point in the year are you motivated by trying to help your teammates kind of achieve what you've already achieved here?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's about doing anything I can to help anybody. I want this just as bad as everybody else wants it. I know our team wants it for the city, the fans, all across from east to west. So, anything I can do to help somebody, I will, whether that's sit down and have a good conversation or whatnot. I think it's fun. And it's not about me, it's about the guys. And I want it just as bad as everybody else does in that locker room, even if I've already played in these, games before.
Go one row ahead to Tyler.
George, when you came over here, you were accustomed to winning pretty much all the time with Houston. And besides the contract itself, what appealed to you about the Blue Jays, and what sort of vision could you see coming for possible nights like this?
Well, I mean, everything that I saw, everything that I envisioned has happened. I think Ross and Mark were very honest and very open about what they saw for the team. Obviously, guys like Vladdy and Bo at the time were here already, and you could kind of see it across the room. Could see who they were going to become as players, and it made it very very obvious for me. But this is why I'm here, to play in these games, these moments. I mean, our fans have been unbelievable all year. This stadium has been electric all year. So, it's these types of moments that were kind of at the forefront of that.
Row behind, a bit further to your left.
George, you have a lot of experience in these moments. What has it been like to watch some of the guys who hadn't been in the postseason much or at all before, like a Barger or Lucas or Ernie Clement, not just keep playing well, but elevate their game in the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, it's been fun, honestly. To watch guys, not get too big, not get too high or low, just to kind of continue and doing what they've done all year has been a cool thing for me, to kind of sit there, because I don't go out on the field. That's for them. So I get to watch them grow and like learn and see all that. So obviously for guys like Addy, Ernie, it's been a special year, and I think everyone's starting to see who they are as a player.
2 rows ahead on your left, Rob.
George, you've spoken about what it's like to participate in a Game 7. Remove yourself from it for a minute, and what do you think of a Game 7 in general in sports? What does it mean to be on that stage, to watch a game?
I mean, I think it's awesome. I think it's as a player, it's what you play for. It's what you sign up for. And then obviously as a fan, you obviously know that both teams are going to go out and try and give it everything they got that day, because each one's backs up against the wall. And I think those are kind of the moments in sports that everybody likes, those hectic moments, those fun moments.
Right up front, George.
Hey, George. Kirby's a pitcher that likes to pound the strike zone, as you know. What's the kind of challenge in facing that? And then for you guys, what's it like preparing for a game where you might have to face all of their starters in some form, Wu and Miller and Castillo all potentially being available off the bench as well?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best in the game. He has been his whole career, and he has been again this year. So, you just have to take it one at bat at a time, adjust on the fly, and then obviously, I think for each team, I think everybody that is available is available. So you're going to know at some point, things that you wouldn't normally see during the year. A guy like Castillo or Bryce Miller might be getting loose in the bullpen. You have no idea. So you just have to take one at bat at a time and embrace it.
Stay there with John.
George, I know how proud you are of your family, and you now have a sister who's a head NCAA softball coach. I wonder, how do you and her sort of compare notes, and what do you learn from each other, and maybe how proud are you of her journey in the coaching profession?
Yeah, she's extremely smart. She understands the game. I talk to her a lot. It's funny. I mean, kind of that brother sister stuff. She kind of gets on my case a little bit more than I would like her to, but it's all good. I watch her. I root for her. There's been some times during spring training where her team's actually in the area, so I get to go see her. So it's been fun. I'm very, very happy for her, and I couldn't be more excited to watch her grow as not only a human but a coach as well.
Fourth row on your left, Jordan.
George, having competed against Shane Bieber over the years and now getting to be his teammate, what stands out about him on the mound and then, of course, in the clubhouse?
Yeah, I mean, he's super competitive, and he wants to win. He wants to do well. He critiques himself probably harder than he should. He's been one of the best in the game his whole career, and when he came over here, it's almost like he's been here for 5, 6, 8 years already. He fit right in. So I love the guy, and I look forward to him out there today.
A few last ones. Mike on your right, the fourth row.
First of all, George, what does your sister get on your case about?
Everything. Everything a little sister could possibly get on my case about, she gets on my case about.
The other thing is, and I guess we just saw it, I mean, you play and you conduct yourself with this joy all the time, but as we've seen the last game, the tenacity and the competitiveness to go out there when you're compromised with an injury and give, like you said, whatever you've got that day. How does that, is it a switch that flips? What's the balance between this intensity and competitiveness and the joy that you exhibit out on the field?
Man, I just think, for me, it's a game, and I love to play the game. The game is so much fun. All these moments, the times on the buses, the planes, the hotels, how close you are to all you want to say friends and family on this team. It makes it easy to go out and play and to have fun. But at the same time, you can never lose that competitive fire. And for me, I don't really know how to explain it. Just kind of one of those things where, I tell Schneids every day, don't worry about me. Once the game starts, I'll be good. I don't know how or what. It's just one of those things where I know I have a job to do from pitch one to the last one, and then we flip it off and we see what happens.
Two last ones. David in the back right corner.
Hey, George, you mentioned Vladdy earlier. You've had a front row seat to watching him grow up and essentially become a man. When you think back to a young Vladdy to now, what stands out the most about his growth?
Man, he has become everything that I thought he would become, and he's only gonna get better, which is scary. I mean, the dude's 26 years old. He's still learning. He's still adapting to situations, still trying to figure stuff out. But I think the way he handles it, he handles himself with such class. He handles himself with grace. He's always willing to learn. He's a guy who will literally give you the shirt off his back. And whenever you have a guy like that in your locker room, it means the world to us. And I just think, as a human, a friend, a guy, he's just an unbelievable human being.
Two last ones, Shy, and then we'll go over here. Shy.
George, I was going to ask about Vlad as well, just maybe from a bit of a different perspective. Having been through some of the expectations as he's had to carry in Houston, what do you appreciate about the way that he's handled all the expectations around him and then in this postseason found a way to really perform at a peak level?
Yeah, I think with Vladdy, one of the things that gets lost is, how young he actually is as a human being, but he cares so much about everybody around him that's what makes him great. And whenever you get a guy like that, again, he's earned every bit of whatever he's got. He's kind of shown the world a little bit who he is as a player and what guys see and hear every day. He knows what weight's on his shoulders, and he's kind of embraced it. But at the same time, he'll say it all the time. He couldn't be here without all of us, and that's a cool thing. He genuinely loves the city. He loves this team, that this organization. So it's a special thing to have a guy like that.
We'll finish up in the last row on your left.
George, Game 7 is exciting and dramatic enough. How much does it help to be playing at home?
Yeah, I mean, these are our fans. This is a electric environment. It's been fun all year round. I know the city, has wanted this for a long time. So to be here, to be on our turf, quite literally on our own turf, is exciting. And I know guys kind of look forward to that first pitch.
George, thanks so much. It's much appreciated.
All right.
Good luck tonight. Dan Wilson will be down at 4:30.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, Ryan.
Lineup question, because you don't usually change it up too often, but you got a little different look in there today. What kind of went into bringing Victor back in and moving some guys around?
Yeah, I mean, really, Victor's just the only change, and you know, looking at you know how he has swung the bat, and I think more or less the energy he brings to our club and the energy he brings to the lineup, and you know, some of the things he can do on the bases and whatnot. So a chance to get him in there today, and you know, kind of you know, again, make a little bit of an adjustment, change things up a little bit.
Going to the front left here, Dan. Dan, a lot of your guys have talked about embracing the pressure and the expectations of the stakes. I know that might be stressful to do at times, especially from your vantage point, but why can that be beneficial to have that mentality?
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, it's number one, it's undeniable. I mean, there is, you know, that it does exist, and you're not human if you don't feel some of that. You know, for a Game 7, we've kind of gone through it in Game 5, and you know, we talked about understanding it and you know, at least acknowledging that there's something on the line, and then being able to channel that in the right direction, I think is key. And you know, these guys have done that all season long. We've been in situations, you know, particularly down the stretch in September, where you've kind of had to win. You know, you had to win that night, and I think these guys have developed a good strategy on how to deal with that. And so you know, that's all part of embracing what's ahead of us. And tonight, you know, Game 7, it's an incredible opportunity, and I think these guys see that for that, and you know, we'll go out there and do what they do.
Go to Brady in the middle.
Dan, did you give any consideration to starting Brian at all today? And if you bring him in relief, would you do so at the beginning of an inning? Could you see him in the middle of an inning? How would you see him being used?
Yeah, you know, I think you know, this was you know, George's game tonight. I think you know, that's where we had kind of gone all along. And you know, in terms of the bullpen tonight, you know, you know, we say all hands on deck. It's definitely that tonight. You know, we'll have just about everybody down there, just about everybody available. So, you know, I think how we use them, how it looks, will depend largely on how the game rolls out. But I think that the thing that is the most exciting is just, you know, the guys want the ball. They want to be in there. They want to be the guy to be, you know, in the moment. And you know, that's we've got a bullpen full of guys that want that, and that's the good news.
We'll go in the back to Ryan.
Dan, with all those guys available, like, what is optimal for George? Is it one time through the lineup, and how many different looks do you want to give Vlad if you do pitch to him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we have a set you know, thing for George tonight. You know, George is he rises to the occasion often, and you know, we hope that you know, George can go 6 or 7 for us. That would be, you know, ideal. But we'll just, you know, again, see how the game unfolds. You know, in terms of Vladdy, like, you know, he has swung the bat extremely well, and this postseason has been, you know, no exception to that, and a guy that's been very dangerous. So again, as we talked about a little bit last night, a guy that you have to be very wary of there in the middle of the lineup, and you know, I think that is something that we will definitely consider as we go forward tonight.
Go right in the front, Curtis.
Dan, it's been kind of rare that George has had an outing where he's kind of got rocked like that last time around. What have you seen in the moments where he has his ability to kind of work through that and bounce back, and how different is it when it's the same lineup that he's going to face the next time around?
Yeah, I mean, you know, George is, you know, I think, you know, we've seen him rise to the occasion, and you know, I think tonight's game, you know, in terms of what's riding on it, the emotion that's going into it, all those things, I think George does a very good job of handling and turning into a positive. And so tonight, I foresee George going out there and doing what he does at a high level, and that, you know, getting ahead with quality strikes, you know, and creating that either weak contact or swing and miss like he does, and you know, that's the George that we have seen in big games, and that's the George that we hope to see tonight.
Go in the back left, Aaron.
Dan, we've seen the Blue Jays lineup get hits when it's over the plate, get hits when it's on the edges, get hits when it's outside the strike zone. With all the strikes, obviously, the Mariners throw, it comes down to tonight. How do you best approach a lineup that 1 through 9, mostly 1 through 9, has the ability to hit it far and also just make great contact? How do you go about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, that is the challenge. But again, I think, you know, keeping keeping the count in our favor and making good pitches when we're ahead, and getting them to hit the pitches that we want them to hit. And that's really what pitchers try to do anyway, and that's what we're going to try to do with this lineup tonight. They're not always going to get hits off the plate, and more times than not, they'll get weak contact on those or swing and miss. So that's how we're going to attack it. And I think as a pitching staff, bullpen and starters, that's our strength. And I think at this stage of the game and going into a Game 7, you go to your strengths, and I know George is going to go to that and continue to be successful.
Go to Aaron right in the middle.
Dan, what is your message to the team tonight? What are you going to say in the clubhouse prior to them going out?
Yeah, I mean, just remind them who they are. This is a team that has come a long way, and just remind them of the things that they do well. And I think we've talked about it a lot, but before games and before big games, we've talked about identity a lot as a club, and these guys just going out there and doing the things that have helped them be successful all season long, and offensively, getting runners on base, grinding out at bats, driving the ball into gaps. And then on the mound, attacking the zone with quality pitches and inducing the weak contact or swing and miss. I mean, that is what we do, and that is how we'll win Game 7 as well.
Anything else for Dan? All right, Dan, thanks for coming in.
Yep, thanks.
John. We'll start right up front to your left.
Hey, John, good to see you again.
Likewise.
All right, 30 plus years the country has been waiting for this moment. Do you not think it's absolutely incredible for us to be winning this at home? To do this at home must be absolutely special. And are you able to enjoy the game and take this all in at the same time as doing what you normally do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. You try to keep that close to you, right? The time it's been since we've been in this situation, and I've always said you take a few seconds, probably right before the game, to enjoy it and to think about it, and then you kind of have to go do your job. But again, a chance to win a game at home in front of these fans to go to the World Series, I think, is everything that we play for and everything that our fans deserve.
Third row on the right, we'll go to Mike.
John, you managed for a very long time at a lot of different levels. Have you managed a winner-take-all game before down in the minors?
Man, that's a good question. I don't think so. I think thinking back to like AA, no, that year we won 6 in a row. Florida State League, maybe that was best of 3. It was 1-1. I don't really remember. Good question. I know that we've been in a lot of big games this year. Yesterday being one of them. Win or go home. So, Game 7 is everything every sports fan wants, and I'm just excited that we're in this position.
Clearly, this one will make more of an impression on
Yeah.
you if you've been in one before. But is today different for you than yesterday? Because they're both, win or leave, but you get another crack at it now, and somebody's season's going to end tonight.
Yeah, I think, that makes it a little bit different. It doesn't change what we have to do, but yeah, it's a little bit different than it was yesterday. I was talking about that earlier with some guys. But you have to come out and play your game. You know what I mean? I think the team that can do that the quickest probably, gets off to a good start. But yeah, it's a little bit different for sure, knowing that you have to win this game.
Other questions for John? Go to Jamie on your left.
John, to many people, the acquisition at the deadline of Shane Bieber was surprising. It feels now like the organization had all of this in mind at the time of that acquisition. Is that what you guys were thinking when he was acquired from Cleveland? Just whether or not he might be in position to pitch to what is now the biggest game of the year?
Yeah. To be honest, we were thinking about kind of mapping out probably anywhere between 5 to 7 starts he would make in the regular season and try to take advantage of those to hopefully get us in position to be in the postseason. And then if you do, then you have a guy that is ready for the moment. I've said it before. I think when we acquired Biebs, it wasn't a quiet move, but it was kind of a underwhelming move in the moment, like on that deadline day, because he wasn't going to be pitching in the next 5 days for us. So this is what we had in mind, to where it's why we went to a 6-man rotation at times, and kind of built that around Shane and his comeback and his timeline to get back to us. So this is kind of what we had in mind, having another guy that can pitch in big games.
Yes, we'll get you the microphone.
John, a lot of former players, have been here this week. They've thrown out ceremonial first pitches. You got a guy, Ricky Romero, said he's flying in for the game. What does it mean to have sort of the support of former players in the organization still in and around the ballpark?
It's cool. They all have done a really good job. Combined velocity of about 200. I feel like they're all throwing the hell out of the ball. But I think it's cool for the fans to kind of see guys that have been here, most recently in this spot, in this postseason atmosphere. And I've known Rick since I played with him in the minor leagues, and he loves his team. I think it's cool that everyone is kind of grasping onto and supporting this group. And understanding, what it means to play in the postseason here in Toronto. It's a pretty special feeling.
Fourth row straight ahead, Gabe.
Hey, John. What kind of examples has George set in kind of the 3 phases he's had here when he came here and you guys are suddenly on the come up, and then the struggles and injuries and stuff, and then this year with just getting back to what he can be, and of course playing through what he's been playing through the last few days?
Yeah, it's funny, man. When we signed George, I think the draw was to help some younger guys that we already had here, a guy that had been at the highest level of the game and won. And then you go through a down year last year for him and for us, and then how do you navigate that? How do you come back from that? And then he's done a phenomenal job, in terms of performance and in terms of what he's done to our clubhouse. And you want guys like him to have, some experience in these situations to help guys around him. With him, I kind of single out him and Max because they've been there. And what he's done this year performance-wise, kind of just he's kind of set the tone of who we are. I've said this earlier in the year, this team has an identity, more so than any team I've been a part of. And not that we didn't in years past, but I think that George does a phenomenal job of leading by example, but also talking about what we stand for. And then when he does it, everyone else kind of has to fall in line.
Fifth row on your right, Shy.
John, I guess similar to the point you just made there. I mean, the fact that he has that 9-pitch at bat leading off the game yesterday, and then clearly looking physically compromised over the course of that game, but he's still out there, still grinding. Just and then is matter of fact about it. Doesn't make a big deal of it. How does that fit into what you were just saying there?
Yeah, I think that's kind of, it's not just him, it's kind of everyone, feeling it physically. And I think when one guy kind of opens up that door to complain, everyone can, I think that he's doing a very deliberate job of not complaining. And again, that's another way to set a standard. So it's, everyone's feeling it right now, but we always joke, everyone's feeling it, but no one cares. No one cares. You got to go out and you got to get it done.
And with Shane, this will be the 3rd time I believe he's pitched on regular rest since you guys got him. Is there anything that you can learn from the past times that helped him optimize physically for a start, and then anything that allows him to maybe get the slider a bit sharper, the curveball with the type of bite it had the last time out?
Thinking back to his other outings on regular rest, I thought his stuff was just as good, if not a little better. I know one was in Cincinnati, I believe, 5 runs in the 2nd or 3rd, and his stuff I thought was better. It just, for him, it comes down to executing, and I think we'll know pretty early with how he's doing with that. And, every pitch is an important pitch for him, not just slider, curveball, it's fastball, cutter, changeup too, and they all play off one another. So I think we'll know. I think the stuff will be the same. No question about that. I just got to, like anyone, got to kind of watch how he executes all of it.
The 6th row, straight back.
John, I understand that Don Mattingly is one of your favorite players when you were growing up. What does it mean to have the possibility of going to a World Series with him at your side as your bench coach?
Yeah, I had the Hitman poster in my room, the pinstripe suit, It would be cool. It would be really cool. We took a picture at Yankee Stadium after we won that series, and I sent it to him. I said, 8-year-old me is pretty pumped up right now, But I think with everything that he's done for me over the past 3 years, you want to share that with him. You know what I mean? He's been rock solid steady for me, as has everyone on the staff. But I think our relationship over the past 3 years has really grown to where we really know one another pretty well. And not just for Donnie, but for everyone on the staff and every player, it'd be really special. But yeah, a small part of me growing up in New Jersey would think it's pretty cool to be in a World Series with Donnie.
3rd row straight ahead, Mike.
John, in I think 2021, both Kevin Gausman and Max Scherzer came out of the bullpen in that winner-take-all game against each other with the Dodgers and Giants. I know you've got everybody available, but does the fact that they did that help you sort of plan out what might be available tonight?
Yeah, I think the fact that they've done it is important. I think the fact that they're veteran guys is important too. Again, it's not set in stone where we may use either one of them, but I think knowing that they're going to be mentally and physically ready if we do call on them is very comforting.
And what's the process, I guess, you guys plotting that stuff out? Obviously, the game is going to take you where it takes you, but that you have everyone available, but also knowing that they have everyone available and that you might face anybody on that Mariners roster.
Yeah, that's the beauty and the angst of Game 7. You know, you're looking for any opportunity really, and you have to be ready for everyone they're going to throw, like they do for us. So you're trying to capitalize as much as you can in any situation that you get some traffic or any situation you can put a good swing on a mistake. So again, I think that trying not to manage based on what they're doing, trying to stay present in the moment with what we need to do. I know pitching gets a lot of the attention in games like this. We need to score. You know, we need to be who we are offensively and hopefully set the tone to where we can do what we want pitching wise.
Do a couple last ones. Aaron in the last row on your left.
Hey, John, you've seen enough of George Kirby over the years to know how much he's in the strike zone, and that could lead to him getting hit around a little bit, or it can lead to just really quick outs, and he can settle into a groove pretty early on in a game. How do you, how's your lineup have a kind of a collective approach with that dual-edged sword that can happen when facing Kirby?
Yeah, I feel like that's been the kind of the way the series has gone. You know, with our offense and their pitching, they're pretty similar. They all have good stuff, and they're all coming right after you. So. We got to continue to be who we are. We got to understand each situation that pops up. What does it call for? Does it call for moving a guy? Does it call for working in a bat? Does it call for trying to do some damage? So it's interesting for sure, you know, because any one of their guys can punch guys out. They can get on a roll. You saw Game 1 unfold the way it did, you know, and then every game has been a little bit different. So we have to be ready to be aggressive, but at the same time, watch what he's doing, you know, and that to me is the cat and mouse game a little bit. I think once you get into the bullpen, you know how they're going to kind of attack you, and you got to be pretty specific with pitches you're looking for. But it's an interesting matchup between their stuff and our lineup that makes a lot of contact.
Finish up in the fifth row on your right with Shy.
John, I think you told the writers that Bo has made a bit more progress in recent days. Just wondering what that progress might entail, and has he done anything defensively?
Progress is kind of just where he feels with his swing and how much more comfortable he feels kind of letting it rip. I think the base running in the defense is something, you know, hopefully we can advance and we can check those boxes in the next few days. He's done some light stuff, but hasn't been like full go at short, and not back on the bases yet. But the running is picked up in the outfield, just in terms of the intensity and the build up or the length of it, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, we'll see how he goes over the next couple days. Hopefully, we can stick around long enough and he can get back to us.
All right, John, thanks so much. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you, guys.